Gospel according to Matthew.
Glory to you, O Lord.
Jesus took Peter, James, and John, his brother, and led them up a high mountain by themselves. And he was transfigured before them. His face shone like the sun, and his clothes became white as light. And behold, Moses and Elijah appeared to them, conversing with him. Then Peter said to Jesus in reply, Lord, it is good that we are here. If you wish, I will make 3 tents here, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah. While he was still speaking, behold, a bright cloud cast a shadow over them. Then from the cloud came a voice that said, This is my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased. Listen to him. When the disciples heard this, they fell prostrate and were very much afraid. But Jesus came and touched them, saying, Rise and do not be afraid. And when the disciples raised their eyes, they saw no one else but Jesus alone. As they were coming down from the mountain, Jesus charged them, Do not tell the vision to anyone until the Son of Man has been raised from the dead. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. Please be seated.
Randy approached the televangelist and he said, Pastor, please pray for my hearing. Excited as he was, the pastor held his hands, shook his head for about 3 minutes. And then he said, How is your hearing? Do you remember the response of the man? Sabi ni Randy, my ears are okay, but my hearing will still be on Saturday inside the courtroom with the judge. It's a good story, right? What's the lesson here? Are you being listened to? Are you listening? Or sometimes, if you give the wrong medicine and the wrong dosage, there will be no cure. True or false? The answer is true. Now, my dear friends, every first and second Sunday of Lent, we are given the right dosage, the right medicine. With the first Sunday of Lent, the temptation of Jesus, it's about the dosage on pain, the difficulties, the crisis of life. With the second Sunday, Transfiguration, it's about the dosage of encouragement that makes you exciting, get back on track, and live with a sense of enthusiasm. Lagi pong every first 2 Sundays of Lent, lagi yan. Constantly, it never changes. It's all about temptation, and then the second is about transfiguration. So let's talk about the 2 of them because they are connected. The first is about the 3-letter P. I said it in the past, our temptations are about priorities, presumption, and power. If you are the Son of God, command this stone to be turned into bread. That is the job of the devil, to be your judge. And then somehow, to put doubts in your minds. Kristiyano ka ba talaga? Ikaw ba talaga, talagang devoted ka ba sa the feast? Ikaw ba, talagang lingkod ng Diyos? He will challenge you. And sometimes, the crisis or the challenge in front of you looks good. Well, there seems to be no harm in turning that block of stone into bread. In fact, it can feed a lot of hungry mouths. But the Lord Jesus knew the tricks of the devil, and He knew that he was the father of lies. So what would go wrong? Well, imagine nyo paglabas natin dito, lahat ng mga makikita mong bato, hollow block, tiles, at pader, puro tinapay na. Anong mangyayari sa atin? Di mabubusog nga tayo. And then we will invite people, tara, pumunta kayo sa the feast. Bakit? Daming pagkain. Do you realize that? That people will follow Jesus for the wrong motive, not because He is the bread of life anymore, but because He provides us with the temporal bread. That is the trick of the devil. And my dear friends, he will challenge you because of your priorities, because of our basic needs. He knows your number. He knows your weaknesses. Jesus was hungry. What is the next right thing to do? To eat. That is why the first temptation is about food. And these are about our basic needs. 5 lang ho yan eh. Ano nga yun? Food, clothing, shelter, my day, and TikTok. Yan na yung basic needs natin ngayon. That is why Jesus said, man does not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes forth from the mouth of God. That, my dear friends, is our true and lasting need. The bread of life. With the second temptation, presumption, he was brought out to the pinnacle of the temple and he was asked to jump. And then the devil will quote Psalm 92, anyway, the angels of the Lord will minister upon you, lest you dash your foot against the stone. It was a good quotation. In other words, you will be saved. But if the Lord will jump, what will happen? Well, people will admire Him. Again, for the wrong reason. If we are with Jesus, we will be secured. Hindi tayo masasaktan. Temporarily. But there was the third letter P, which is power. The Lord Jesus was brought to the highest peak. And He was shown the kingdoms of the world. And the devil, the father of lies, would lie again to Him by saying, I'm going to give this all to you. Just bow down and worship me. That, my dear friends, is instant glorification. You don't have to die on the cross anymore. You don't have to experience crisis, suffering, or challenges anymore. In an instant, you will have your glorification. Di ba yan naman ang gusto natin? Di ba we are addicted to comfort? Di ba we are addicted to instant results? Di ba kaninang bago kayo pumunta dito, uminom kayo ng instant coffee? Probably yung iba sa inyo nag-breakfast ng instant noodles. Probably sa SM, tumataya pa kayo ng instant charity sweepstakes. That is what we love. It's all about instant, but nothing great in life is achieved instantly. But that is the temptation of the devil. That is why, lagi ko sinasabi, let's learn from the military way. No pain, no. No guts, no. No ID, no. Sa mga tanod, no coffee, no duty. Sa mga pare, no collection, no communion. Lahat nagra-rhyme, no? But the thing is, my dear friends, in life, you will have to do the hard work. But the devil would like us to grab power instantly. These are our constant temptation. Remember the formula? What is the first letter P again? Ano yun? Priority. The second letter P is ano yun? Presumption. And the third letter P is power. These are our constant temptations, particularly during this time of Lent. Hence, the practice of the Christian pillars of spirituality, no? Fasting, prayer, and almsgiving. Now, let's go to Transfiguration. There are also the 3 letter P's, but this time in a positive way. Did you notice that Jesus brought Peter, James, and John? Why is that? Because Peter will be heading the universal church. James, the Jerusalem church. John will be on the mystical side of the church. Kumpleto na. Nandito na lahat. They were the core representative. And then, why on the mountain? Is it Tabor or someplace else? It doesn't matter. Because the mountain symbolizes Christ, our nearness to God. It's the place of the divine. That is why Jesus will always go there to commune with the source, His Father. Why Elijah and Moses, the greatest prophet of old and the greatest lawgiver of old, kumpleto na. Because that is what we have in Matthew 7:12. No, Jesus talking about the golden rules. Do unto others as you would have others do unto you. This is the law, Moses, and the prophets, Elijah. And then came the pronouncement of Peter. Rabbi, it is good that we are here. Let us make 3 tents. Again, the Shekinah. God pitched His tents among us. Everything here is symbolic. And Peter somehow was telling the Lord Jesus, okay na tayo dito. Ang ganda ng experience, no? And let us rather stay here. Let us prolong this beautiful, marvelous experience. But my dear friends, with the first letter P, and we call it purpose, the Lord Jesus cannot stay there. It's just a glimpse of what is about to come. That is why, with the voice, this is again another epiphany that was heard. It was said, "This is my beloved Son, listen to Him." My dear friends, Jesus knew from the beginning His sense of purpose, His sense of mission. It's not instant glorification. Being the Son of God, He would fulfill the greatest task that no one else can do. But then there is the second letter P, no? And suddenly looking around, they no longer saw anyone as they were coming down from the mountain. And these were the words of Jesus, no? He told them, when the Son of Man, He said that, do not relate what they had seen to anyone. Jesus came and touched them saying, "Rise and do not be afraid." Ang ganda, my dear friends. That brings us to the second letter P. After purpose, we call it progress. These are the same words that Jesus in John chapter 5 told to the man, "Rise, pick up your mat and walk." Because rising symbolizes movement. Alam po ninyo, madalas na sinasabi niyo sa mga anak ninyo o napapakinggan natin, no? O nababasa natin sa libro, be content. Do you agree? If I'm going to tell you now or ask you now, are you contented? If your answer is yes, probably what you mean is you are not contented with your state of being. There has to be something more. Kasi if I'm going to be contented right now, at this very point in my life, I will get stuck. And that is what the devil loves, that you get stuck, that you do not progress anymore, that you will not fulfill your sense of purpose anymore. But how come? We often hear people preachers telling us, you should be contented. What do they actually mean? Well, be contented, not with the state of being, but be contented with the progress, with the kind of path that you are treading. And that is the job of the Transfiguration. Because if you check on the details, before this, Jesus was already talking about death on the cross. He was talking about the cause of discipleship. He was talking about Him, that the Son of Man will be put to death, will be handed over, and on the third day, He will rise again. He was setting the direction. In other words, be contented, not with your state of being, but with the kind of progress that you are treading, because you know you are on the right direction. Do not grow weary. And then sometimes, my dear friends, we hear people telling, bakit hindi ka na nasatisfy sa buhay? Bakit nagiging greedy ka na? Bakit wala ka nang ginawa kundi magtrabaho ng magtrabaho? That is also true. That is why there has to be the sense of balance. Because if you are contented with your state of being, you get stuck. Now, if you keep on working and working, power grabbing, and then you're never satisfied, what happens to you? In the process, you become miserable. Why? Because you always want to achieve and achieve without you having the sense of direction. So my dear friends, the sense of balance is be contented, be happy, be empowered with the kind of progress that you are doing, because you know you are heading towards the right direction. And Transfiguration allows us to see that there is end in suffering, that our crisis, that our challenges allow us to be transfigured if and only if we live by the grace of God and allow this God to work in us and through us. As we reflected on the story of temptation, as we are reflecting now on the story of the Transfiguration, may we always remember our sense of purpose. May we always live a life of progress, so that in the process we sow seeds of greatness in others. And then the third letter, P, as we carry along our persevering attitude, because we cannot get stuck and we cannot grow weary. Please stand.